trying to throw Singaporean face or what. There's this saying, right? Like, you only ask your enemy to do F&B. No lah. She like cause I handsome.
Hey everybody, welcome back to yet another episode of Mothership Help Desk. As always, I'm your host Drew. I'm joined by my good friend and artisanal pasta chef Darun.
Only on Monday evenings.
Yeah, thank you for joining me today. We are also joined on today's episode by Tommy NBCB, the guy behind that restaurant, burger chain NBCB, Nothing But Cheeseburger. He talks to us about the challenges of running an F&B place, especially amidst the rising cost of living. And he also told us about his story of how he got into the business in the first place, some of his highlights, some of his challenges. We also answered your questions.
Yeah, about self-doubt, about work life. Pretty inspiring stuff.
Relatable and inspiring stuff from Tommy. So dial up the episode, let's get to it. Toot, 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 toot. Okay, Tommy, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for
Tommy
having
Wong,
us. Yes.
better known as Tommy NBCB.
Yeah, I get so used to it, right? Until people call me Tommy Wong, I feel a bit awkward.
So you prefer Tommy NBCB?
Both okay lah. I prefer people to at least call me by my normal name.
Well, how do you introduce yourself to people?
Tommy,
Just Tommy.
just Tommy.
Or better known as Tommy NBCB. First name Tommy, last name NBCB.
At the start, it was quite often lah, Tommy
Yeah.
NBC. But nowadays, it's like just Tommy lah. I think whether the person know my shop or not is secondary to me really.
Thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you for
I
having
mean, we're here to talk. We'll get into your story. We'll answer some questions from the audience.
Yeah.
But I think what we really wanted to talk to you about was about F&B businesses.
Yeah.
Because you've seen that like a lot of them have been struggling recently. A lot of closures.
Not all, but I think there's a good group of people that find it quite challenging, including myself.
Yeah. So I wanted to try and find out from you, about what those kind of challenges and just the story of NBCB as well.
Yeah.
Everybody knows you started it because you were trying to make burgers for your wife, right?
Then yes, but she gave me that stupid idea to open a shop. Encouragement.
Did you do much cooking before that?
I was never really a cook. The only cooking I did was when I was studying overseas. So sometimes you're on a tight budget.
Yeah.
So we had to cook at home, right?
Yeah.
So no one died on my cooking. So at least I feel that, if you are not someone with a very good standard, maybe my food will be edible to you.
Yeah. And your wife was craving, as the story goes, your wife was
Yes.
craving a cheeseburger.
During her pregnancy.
Yes. And then you decided that you were going to make it yourself. Why didn't you just buy it?
So the story is I was buying it during the COVID period. But during that time, every time you enter a mall, you have to check in, then you have to check out. Then you have to queue. During that time, the Shake Shack was very popular. The queue was like 45 minutes long. And because my wife was not vaccinated, because of some rumor that they say pregnant women shouldn't go for vaccination.
Yeah.
So she can't enter the mall, so we can't go there and eat. So I had to keep taking away to bring back home.
Yeah.
So at some point, I realized that I can't do it anymore, not for the next 6 months.
Okay.
So I thought, maybe it's just burgers, I can cook it myself. Shouldn't be that bad, right?
Yeah.
What are the ingredients that they have I don't have or not available for me to buy?
Uh-huh.
So I went to try. So at the start, definitely she didn't like it. But as men, we try to seek approval, right? So something sparked in me to do something to a point where she will approve of it, and that's how it started. Yeah.
So that final, the one that she approved of, that burger, how different is it from the NBCB that you can buy today?
Definitely now it's a bit more commercialized because during then I could control a lot of things like the supply, how I want to do it, because it's of such small volume.
Yeah.
But when it becomes a commercial restaurant,
Yeah.
With that kind of labor that I have to put in, it's definitely, in my view, it's not that worth it from the consumer point, especially for something that is burger, a bit hard, really very difficult. If you were to add in the extra labor costs to hire people to go and do all these things. So, which is the reason why there's a lot of commercial supplier that does patty. The only thing we could control is the ratios of meat, the fats, the tendons, the cartilage that's inside the patty itself. Yeah.
Interesting. Super interesting.
Were you already making different kinds of burgers when you were doing it for your wife, or was it just like one cheeseburger then?
So the original one was really just the cheeseburger.
Right.
Because it was just her craving. But when I opened the shop after I think 6 months, I realized that people just can't come back to eat one burger. And of course, there are people that are not beef eater. So I had to cater for a lot of the other audience group. So that's where the chicken recipe came in, the fish recipe came in, and I try to localize certain things. Like for example, the chicken one, I make it interesting lah. I mean, it's not interesting in a sense where it's a niche, but I feel that it is a type of flavor that people can easily accept.
Yeah.
So even for the fish burger, initially when we did it, obviously the tried and proven sauces are the tartar sauce, right? So how am I supposed to make it different instead of just inserting a fish fillet? So I thought of the Chinese fried fish soup, the fish pieces. So I thought okay, maybe I can localize it and use the fish pieces instead of just one fish fillet. And because these fish bites are real fish inside them, so it should be a healthier option, right? So I thought from that perspective, okay, I'll give it a try. So luckily, the acceptance was quite good. In fact, it's one of my best sellers in my shop.
The fish burger.
Yeah,
very nice. We should say that we are joined by Tarun, who is like a home chef.
Home chef.
He makes pasta.
Yeah, that's all I do though.
but pasta is one of the food that can easily go wrong, and it's hard to impress.
Yeah.
Because it's a lot of people will think that it's just sauce based. But it's also the ingredient, the type of pasta you use.
Oh yeah, I mean he's like, when I say make pasta, I mean like you're literally making the pasta.
Yeah, the pasta itself.
Yeah,
though it's not always successful. I mean, my success rate is probably like less than like 20%.
But
when it turns out good.
But as a home chef, you understand, right? If you were to commercialize what you are doing, it doesn't make sense to sell it for $9.90.
Yeah, it would be super different if I had to sort of make it.
Yeah, you either have to sell at a huge premium for the labor. Because it's not that easy and you make it in small batches. And also you haven't considered the labor, the rental, a lot of costing involved when we deal with the pricing, right?
Were you like tweaking? So how did you sort of like get to that final cheeseburger that was like, okay, this is the one that you can start a home business with? Was it like you were playing around with the bun and then you tried out different patties? Like how did that process sort of go?
To be fair, it was ground up. So like, of course, the lettuce and the tomato is quite standard.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of bite and how the presentation look like.
Right.
But when it comes, the main two things is, or three things is the seasoning, the sauce, right, the bun.
Yeah.
And also how are we going to make the patty, right? At that point of time, I was doing like 150 grams.
Right.
Yeah.
But before that, I always thought that a fattier patty will look better.
Yeah.
But then, after creating that few sample or the trial period, I realized that it's hard to pack if it's too fat, right?
Okay.
And it's take a longer time to cook if the patty is too big. And then of course the bite, the chew, everything, there's difference. Even for the bread, initially people were telling me, hey, potato bun is better, which is not wrong, right? But then they are brioche type, they are non-butter type, right? And then which one would satisfy in terms of the entire the taste of the entire thing. So after trial and error, I did about I think 80 to 90 iteration of burgers.
Wow.
A lot of burgers. Your wife had to try.
Not just her. I mean, she maybe took a bite and then she said, I don't really like it.
Okay.
Then for me, I had to finish everything, right? So you suffer the pain of your failure.
Yeah.
So it kind of like make me hope that, this final one, she can like it so that I don't have to eat it anymore.
Yeah. That reminds me of like when I was on exchange in Canada. Like the same similar as to you, like when you're overseas, money's a bit tight. Then you're trying to cook like big batches, right? Because it kind of saves money. So I'll cook like once at the start of the week and then like keep it in the fridge for the whole week. And man, if I like cook something bad and it tasted bad, right? I would just have to eat that.
Struggle through it.
Yeah, I would just have to eat it for the whole week.
Power through it.
God.
So in fact, I will say that I ate so many burgers during the R&D phase that it removed like my craving for burgers. Yeah. Even for me, I like cheeseburgers. I like Big Mac. I like McSpicy. I like any sort of burgers. But since then until now, I've been really trying my best not to eat burgers if I can. Because even for now, sometimes I do my quality checks. I still eat the burgers.
Do you still cook? Will you still go down to the restaurants and cook?
Cook, no, because I don't feel that I am qualified as a commercial chef.
Yeah, okay.
And the way they do things and the way we do things is a little bit different.
Yeah.
So I am by no means a chef, not even a cook. at best home cook, then I will leave it to the professionals, which are all the chefs that I have with me. Yeah.
I was gonna say, I mean, because like you ate a lot of burgers, but you still look like damn trim and fit.
I have
Didn't put on any weight.
I have high metabolism.
It's a blessing. It's a blessing.
Well, what we all need.
I
was an athlete, so
sorry.
I in the past I was an athlete.
Okay.
So I think my body is quite used to burning all this stuff lah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
day to day I don't really eat a lot.
What kind of sports? Were you doing?
I
back
used to
then?
do track. I used to do
Damn. What was your event?
100, 200, 400 long jump,
Okay.
high jump. But that was a long time ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. So during then, I think I ate a lot of burgers because easy lah, protein, there's carbs involved, right? But nowadays, I still stick to my cai fan.
Okay.
Yeah,
Right.
that's my staple food.
So today with NBCB, like,
Mm.
what is your involvement? Like, how involved are you with the day-to-day of it?
I think the usual business development, the marketing part, and of course some QC, customer service, feedback and things like that. A lot of the operation is run by my ops manager or my GM, and of course the cooking and all this is run by my staff lah.
Yeah.
So I'm involved more on the back end side of things.
What is it like to run the business?
Like any other business, it's just waking up with a lot of problems every day. It's like non-stop. And you think that maybe today I solve this problem and the same problem might come in from a different angle. So after 3 years in, of course certain things we managed to solve it. But every day there will be like new challenges.
New challenge.
Yeah. And it doesn't come from a single perspective. There's multiple, right? So the basic 5 is like customer, supplier, your own staff, weather, renter, there's many things involved. And out of every single part that can cause you problem, there are multitudes of different layers of problem that may come in. And there is no one quick fix solution, right? It could be like, if I do it this way, then another person will be unhappy. But if I stay in the middle, both will be unhappy.
Like managing all your different stakeholders and
managing
whatnot.
stakeholders, managing to me the real bosses are end of the day the customers, right? But if I place them too high of a priority, my staff will feel like they are not treasured or they are not respected in a certain way.
Yeah, tough. I mean, we've seen a lot of like F&B closures over the last, like we mentioned earlier, right? If you had to guess, what would you think would be the number one cause for an F&B place closing down?
As of now, I would say that number one, I would say is costing. Food costs and maybe labor cost. I mean, all costing in general.
Yeah.
So food costs, labor costs, and maybe rental costs. The only thing about rental is that if you sign for 3 years, by right that 3 years should be same lah, right?
Yeah.
But sometimes due to certain uncertainties, sales might drop.
Yeah.
Then that level of rent was based on previous sales revenue. So now it's a little bit different. That's where I can see it. But certain aspect like food costs, labor costs, there's a lot of uncontrollable costs involved in the sense where if today you need 5 people to effectively run this place, right? Then there's no way you can run it with 4, right? But maybe that 5 people will cost you, let's say, 20,000 3 years back.
Yeah.
But now to still sustain these 5 people, you might have an increment of $5,000 to $6,000, which in the sense where if your revenue don't increase at the same rate, it's very difficult to fork out even more money. Especially certain F&B, the margin is probably at around 8 to 20% at best. Most F&Bs.
All these kind of problems and these things that you had to think about. Did you know about it before you started?
So that's the thing. Nobody can tell you 100%, right? Because even if you were to go to a very successful F&B entrepreneur, his line or rather his type of food might be totally different from yours. So the cost involved might be totally different. So I give you an example, like you do pasta. Right? On a single plate basis, if you were to buy all the ingredient, for example, you buy the dough, you buy everything, you do it. Because you have to buy it in a pack, right? You can't buy it like you just want one plate. Right? So that cost of that one plate could easily be based on how much ingredient you buy. For me, it's the same. Every time I buy a bun, I can't buy one bun, I have to buy 6 buns at a go. Right? So that's the cost, right? And the pasta cost for one serving and the burger cost for one serving might differ a lot. Right? But both are a one serving food. And from the eyes of a consumer, they might set a certain price limit on what they see.
Yeah.
Right? The only way we can increase it is maybe you put caviar on your
Yeah.
on your stuff. I change it to wagyu to make it a bit more look more expensive, so I can sell it more expensive.
Yeah.
So there are certain things that even someone in the same line of work might not give you that full transparency in the challenges that you have.
Did you talk to anyone before you started?
I did. I spoke to a lot of my friends who are doing F&B, but a lot of them is like maybe they are chicken rice stalls. So chicken rice stall have their own challenges because they might have high wastage.
Yeah.
I have friends that do cai fan that is very, very successful.
yeah.
I have friends that do fish and chips, right? And even the three of them, the things that they tell me, in my head is like a little bit different.
Yeah.
So who is right, who is wrong? You never know, right? Even if I have access to the owner of McDonald's and I ask him the same question, he or she is on a different level as me.
Yeah.
His scale of problem and my scale of problem will be different. His
Yeah.
costing will not be my costing. So there will never be 100%. You follow this model, it will work this way. You have to really go and try it out yourself.
Yeah.
And I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but when you were in a home business, it's like you get the orders first and then you're like preparing to those orders. So you buy the supplies afterwards. But
Yeah.
in a restaurant, I guess it's the other way around, right? It's like you have a bunch of stuff and you need to figure out how to sort of...
Yeah, so people always ask me like, what's the difference between a home-based business and an actual commercial restaurant?
Yeah.
I think one is you choose how much you want to earn because you definitely earn. Right?
Yeah.
Even there's no order, you are not at a loss.
Yeah. 'Cause
Right?
it's your home.
It's your
Right?
home, yeah.
And you don't waste electricity, you don't
Yeah.
waste anything. But
Yeah.
when it becomes a business, every day you start off negative. Any business, not just a F&B
Right.
business, as long as you have costs involved,
Yeah.
every day you wake up, before you start the shop, you are running a deficit.
Right.
Every business is trying to chase back the deficit and make a profit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah, for sure.
that is one of the challenges lah. And with a brick and mortar shop, you never really know who is going to walk in. Sometimes, let's say on a Monday, I expect it to be quiet. But for whatever reason, a lot of people come. Right? Then I have shortage of manpower because I didn't plan so many staff to handle such manpower.
Yeah.
Then there are days where, on a Saturday, maybe it's raining or it's a school holiday, everyone is overseas. I have the manpower to handle that kind of crowd, but lesser people walk in. So it's just non-stop problem.
Yeah.
You don't really
Jeez.
know how to handle them.
That's nuts. That reminds me of like a story of like that my brother had because he used to work in a restaurant as well. And he remembers like one day it was so quiet. They had like maybe one table and he was paid more than that one table ordered.
Wow.
If you get if
wow.
you know what I mean.
Yeah, but even
Yeah.
like now, 3 years in, I'm still figuring out the market. Because a lot of them, they will tell me like, if you are a Western food store, usually like Monday, Tuesday is the quietest.
Yeah.
And weekend people are more willing to splurge and they will eat your food lah, It's very hard to plan manpower in one sense because full-time staff is full-time staff. There's also an army of part-time staff that we use, right? So previously, when I was saying about labor costing, it's because we plan our schedule on a weekly basis or bi-weekly basis. And nowadays, even 3 years into the business, it's very hard for me to really plan because we don't really know how many people walk through the door. It's not like last time, every Monday, the same few people come in. So there are Mondays where I'm expecting low footfall. But suddenly, I don't know why there's huge groups coming in.
Slammed.
Right.
And we don't have the manpower to handle, which for a lot of people will say, okay, well, you save costs. I say, no, I still have to deal with the complaint of slow service.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
The
Or dirty
reputational kind of.
Right? So there are a lot of things that you might not see. Then let's say on a Saturday, I'm planning for a huge turnout. Then nobody came. Then how? Right? Then people will say, never mind lah. You Monday earn already, what? You Friday, or you Saturday can relax, ma.
Yeah.
You will still break even. But my point is, then all my staff will think that every Saturday like that, I will want to work Saturday instead of Monday, for example. Right?
Yeah.
So there are a lot of secondary issues that people might not see because they are not running the business. So that manpower challenge is very tricky also.
Yeah.
Well, how do you convince people to join your business?
Join the business.
As in to work at.
To work.
Yeah. How do you get the staff? Because it is an industry that a lot of people think is quite challenging and very sort of demanding.
I don't think that people find F&B challenging. I think the biggest problem is that people find F&B has no room for growth.
Yeah.
Right,
Okay.
right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like if I were to work in F&B, there's higher chance that, if I work in a hotel for 10 years, I will be somebody. And working in a local restaurant chain, or
Yeah.
I might as well go join McDonald's. Maybe I can be a branch manager. But I join you for 10 years, what am I going to be?
Yeah.
That sort of things lah. That's why there's always a preference for bigger brands, bigger chain. But of course, they come with their set of problems.
Yeah.
But from a selfish perspective, is what can you offer me?
Yeah.
After 10 years, it might not be just the money, right?
Yeah.
It could be like in terms of their personal growth. Where do I see myself? Area manager, or what?
Yeah.
If you cannot even answer them and you have no proof to show them because you are a budding entrepreneur, then your words are as worthless as
Yeah.
the wind.
Yeah. So what do you say to them when if they come to you with these kind of concerns?
I mean, at the start, of course, I managed to get a lot of people in due to the pay. I pay a slightly higher rate.
Yeah.
But then at some point, for every business, it will become not sustainable operationally.
Yeah.
So you have to pay, realistic pay. But then with realistic pay, you will have high turnover. Because especially in the F&B side, I do notice that people will jump ship for $80.
Yeah.
Another place pay you $80 more, or give you half day off more.
Yeah.
Then you go. Right? But for me, I guess I'm quite lucky because my staff have been working for quite some time. So a lot of them are actually there since the start.
Wow, okay.
Right? And I try my best to give them higher pay, right? And hopefully they can manage the expectations that I have of them. But for part-timers, there's really no commitment. Right? Yeah. So if here I'm paying like $12 an hour, another place is paying 18, although the workload is heavier, some of them will just choose to take the 18.
Yeah. Yeah.
And of course, some consideration is the area of work. Some people don't want to travel to town.
Yeah.
Some people just, if I stay Tampines, I will work at Tampines. So there are all these concerns.
Yeah, of course. So you've been running NBCB for like 3-ish years now.
3.5 years.
Yeah. What would you say is the highlight of that time so far?
I have a lot of highlights. I really think that number one is I never thought that it would last 3 years.
Okay.
Yeah, because I study accounting.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm a person of statistic. And in Singapore context, is most F&B closed down within the first, I think, 9 months, 1 year. Right. And then those that can last beyond 2 to 3 years is probably considered very successful. Really.
Yeah.
I'm on my 3rd year now, hopefully going to my 4th and 5th year. And then regardless what happened, I do feel that I really succeed in my mission. Anything else, it really depends on the market movement, the sentiments and things like that. Because I think now a lot of people are feeling the pinch in terms of drop in revenue. And I believe that there are a lot of internal and external factors involved. Like for example, job stability, maybe JB, they say they are building the rail and it's easier to go to JB to eat on a weekend now. So they rather go to JB and things like that. And of course, challenges from bigger brands coming in, foreign brands coming in with very strong financial support. And then I do see, I don't know whether you notice that a lot of bigger brands are running very heavy promotions.
Okay.
Right? So this might affect small businesses in Singapore as well.
You said that you didn't expect it to last this long.
Yeah.
So when you started the business, how long did you think it was going to be?
I would say like a good 2 years would consider quite good for me lah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but you cannot plan. I mean, everyone don't want to fail, right?
Yeah.
But you also have to be realistic. At what point do you think is a good checkpoint to take over the entire business, right? But for me, because I think I've been fighting the war for 3 years, it was like just a blink of an eye.
Yeah.
So now it's like 3 years, and what's next?
Does it get tiring running the business?
I will say that there are aspects that are tiring, like any other jobs, right? But the only thing is, I feel that there are a lot of customers that message me, not just through NBCB, they message me personally, and they tell me like, hey, their kids like to eat their food. They choose to have family gathering at the brand. And when I started off the brand, obviously there were a lot of pushback. When they see, they say, wow, why you use such a name? You're trying to throw Singaporean face or what? And from that to people like, hey, I really like, what you are doing, the support they show. These are the things that it's not tangible, right? There's no value, dollar value, but in my heart, it is something that keeps me going. Like this is the truth. I'm not talking rubbish.
Yeah.
But when you hear this kind of thing, when you see this kind of comments, at least you know that whatever you do for these people, group of customers, it was worth it for somebody. Somebody appreciated it.
Yeah, very nice, very nice. I mean, we asked you about the highlights.
Mm.
You've already mentioned some challenges, but what do you think would be the biggest challenge that you face?
Biggest. Right now, my biggest challenge is, I think, which is the same as a lot of local F&B are facing, is the challenge from overseas.
Okay.
That is one of the biggest challenge, because I would say that just on my type of food, right? Of course, I enter a type of food that is quite mature.
Yeah.
Right. There are a lot of big brands involved. There are a lot of even boutique brands that are much bigger than us that are involved in this thing, and I don't have that financial capacity to fight. So people always ask me, hey, you not scared of, let's say Five Guys or Shake Shack? When I started off the business, I say, in Five Guys' eyes, I'm a nobody.
Yeah.
Why would they be so afraid of me? Right? They do their own thing, they have their own followers and their own supporters. I will have my own customers, and we will not clash.
Yeah.
But now 3 years in, I think there might be, I wouldn't say recession, but people are tighter on their money. Then when it comes to that, both our revenue will fall. Right? They have more flexibility financially to do things to bring back customers as compared to a normal shop. So one comparison that is maybe more familiar is like there are big chicken rice shops and there's a single chicken rice shop. The big chicken rice shop with a bigger financial standing or stronger financial standing can do more promo to cover up certain costs versus a standalone shop.
Yeah.
So what can that standalone shop do? Nothing much really. Right? It's a question of do I foresee the market turning better and my customers coming back, or should I just reduce the quality of my chicken so that I can earn more per plate? What can I do?
Yeah.
Right. So this is like some questions that we ask ourselves. So for me is that, do I want to change my formula? Right. In my head, if I have to change anything that is different from what I've been doing, then might as well I don't do it at all. Because it will bring back another set of problems.
Yeah.
Right. So these are some questions that day to day we ask ourselves. And I'm lucky that even from my staff perspective, from my shareholder perspective, we never want to change just because we want to save money or make money. Right? We maintain at that rate and let the market decide whether we are still relevant or they want us in the market.
Yeah. I mean, looking back on it now, do you think you would still open NBCB? If you could go back in time and visit yourself from 3 years ago, would you
Give myself an advice?
Yeah, would you advise Tommy Wong from 2021, 2022 to do NBCB?
I think from a stress perspective, no. Because there's this saying, right? Like, you only ask your enemy to do F&B, which at the start I was like, no lah, where got this kind of thing? But now that I've done it, if someone were to ask me, I will always tell them, you start home base first. Whatever that you are selling, whatever price that you are selling that people are willing to buy, you increase it to a point where people, the really drop out rate at 50%, then you include all the expected costs inside there and how much you think you're going to sell per day, then you see whether it makes sense for you to do this business or not.
Yeah.
Right? But for me is that I have a lot of secondary benefit by starting this brand. So without NBCB, I won't be doing my social media. Without my social media, I won't be getting like my acting opportunity, a lot of campaign opportunity, and other external things that are all related back to NBCB. So would I have done it again? From a growth perspective, I would.
Okay.
Right. Even if I knew that I will fail within the first 6 months, I will still do it. Because on hindsight, I gain a lot of things more than just the brand. Right. But from a stress perspective, assuming all these secondary things are not there, I just do it, then I lose 200,000, and how? Of course not lah. Right. But the key thing is, with a lot of things that we do, you don't try how you know. You never knew whether you can do podcasts. You never knew you could be a journalist. You don't know, right? But if you don't do, you will always ask yourself whether you can or cannot. So if you have the means to lose, I would say try. Because the only thing that you will never get back is your time. So at least I try this experience, even if I fail 1 year down the road. I got this 4 years experience that I can still share with people.
Yeah.
Right. So it is always meaningful. It's just where you see the meaning at.
Very nice, very well put.
I'm just kind of curious, like, since you mentioned that a lot of businesses kind of F&B businesses close after a year, but sort of yours has managed to survive for this long. Like, what do you think? What do you think was the difference that let you sort of like let that business sort of endure so long? I mean, it may not be just one thing, but if there was like a particular thing,
I will attribute a lot of things to the gimmick, which is the brand. And at the start, of course, it was difficult because a lot of people see it from a negative perspective. Of course, there are a bunch of customers that think that it's funny, it's humorous, it's local, it's Singaporean, and whatever lah, right? And then they came and try. But I guess 50% is there must be something that I've done right. Whether I know or I don't know is beside the point. But either there are enough people that like my burger to come back and eat so that I can survive for so long.
Yeah.
And then there are going to be, maybe I done right in a marketing sense where people really resonate with the brand. There must be something lah, because no one will spend money again and again on something that they don't like.
yeah,
That's for sure.
yeah,
So can I pinpoint 100%? I will say that there is this flavor resonance and also a branding resonance with people. A lot of people see me as that David, right? They hope that I can beat Goliath.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So there might be that support in that sense.
I think it's quite incredible though, because like it's not like you were like a food person or like you know, it's not like you were working in restaurants beforehand. You were doing like insurance.
Yeah,
right?
I was like more in the insurance, financial sector.
Yeah.
But mostly it's sales.
Yeah, and it's not like you even enjoyed cooking before this whole thing. So to come out the distance that you have, like to me that's just
I never really put much value in that. But of course, a lot of people tell me, hey bro, I think it's quite cool that, you know, you from someone that never even walked into the kitchen for no purpose till you are doing a restaurant, and until at this current stage, they felt that it's inspirational lah. But in my perspective is I don't see it that way, because I'm viewing myself internally. I don't see how am I affecting people externally, right?
Yeah.
But of course, it's difficult. It's by no means easy. I wish that I could have planned it a little bit better. But at that point of time was like, oh, just do. Just do. Oh, not enough. Go find something else to cover. You know,
so it wasn't always this like lifelong dream of yours to like start a business or...
No man, bro. I am a product of Singapore's education.
right.
Go to school, study as high as you can, get a good job, get married, have kids. Then don't be too ambitious, don't take risks. Save enough money in your CPF, wait until 65, start getting your payout. That was how I was brought up, because both my parents are white collar workers. Man.
Okay.
Right? None of them are entrepreneurs. I have no business owner in my line of my ancestors. So I was not brought up to think that way. Yeah. So in fact, I don't really have much guidance or experience in that aspect. So it's really like trying to feel in the dark what's happening. That's how I really feel during my first 1.5, 2 years.
Yeah. Okay, so we're an advice show. We give advice to our audience.
Yeah.
One bonus advice before we get to the audience submitted questions, right? What is one tip you would give to someone who is thinking about starting their own business? Whether that's F&B or any other kind of business.
I don't want to be too technical, because like I said, every business is different.
Yeah.
But I would say that is that product or service or whatever that you are doing is something that, you know, will affect you 50-60% of your day. That is one thing I feel, because of course there are certain things like renovation. You only is a I would say it's more of a want base than a need base, because most BTO are ready. You can just move in. It's just because you want it to look nicer, that's why you go and do it. Man. But there's a lot of businesses out there that, for example, simple terms like clothing, right? Like, are you really that irritated with the type of clothes you are wearing that you have to go and start your own brand?
Okay.
Right? Because there are a lot of factors in mind, is that it's not an impulse. It should not be an impulse. Like for me, it wasn't an impulse. I really did it for a good 9 months. Then I realized that maybe I have returned customers.
Yeah.
Maybe
you did the home-based business for 9 months. And
I
then...
tested it out.
Yeah.
It really worked for that entire 9 months. I have returned customers. maybe I should think about making it better.
Mm.
I won't be so ambitious and tell people, no, just try to take bank loan 100k, just open. You can, but are you ready to suffer the consequences of failure? If it does not make you lose sleep, then go ahead and do it. Because a lot of successful entrepreneurs, not me, a lot of them, they really never think so much. They just do. So one advice that I really want to give people, right, is don't overthink the thing. Right? If you like it, you do it. And the result of your action will make you commit more or commit less. That's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So Taran, you ready to start your home-based pasta business or what?
I mean, you
I
should
think
try
I'll
it.
give some thought first.
No. I mean, I'm not trying to be like that. I'm just trying to be realistic.
Right,
but within
right.
that realistic ideology, you should put some hope into it.
Yeah.
It's the hope that makes you want to do it. It's the spark of that creation.
Yeah.
So, end of the day, don't think that, wow, what if nobody eat? What if people don't like? At the start, I was very fearful.
Yeah.
Right. Every time I send a burger out, right, I'm like, wow, I should make it a bit better. It should be hotter. But sometimes the comment comes back, hey, bro, I like your stuff. So you never really know.
Yeah. Very nice. One last question before we go to the audience submitted questions, right? What's next for NBCB? How do you see the brand evolving? I mean, obviously it's tough times at the moment, but I mean, what are you hoping to do to move out of those tough times?
For me, I have a lot of plans in mind. Some I can say, some I cannot say.
Yeah.
But the ones that I can say is that I think the novelty of the concept has already run out at some point of time.
Okay.
So I might want to do it in a way that is more convenient, like maybe a quick express service.
Okay.
Where people can just eat fast and go. Or make it easier for people to take away, make it easier for Grab. Because honestly, even from a delivery basis, my business for delivery, every year we grow about 80%.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah, so like even on Deliveroo, I have customers that ordered like 2,000 times that kind. So I'm just working out on how to adjust this thing so that it is better on other side. Because from the delivery perspective, at least I don't have like a running rental cost to suffer waiting for people to come in. And then especially when you do F&B shop, the worst thing is weather. Weather is one thing you cannot control. So especially it doesn't matter you are situated in a mall, in a shop house below HDB void deck. Sometimes when the weather is not good, it also affect your business. So there are a lot of like unforeseen circumstances that you might not be able to control. So one thing about the business, especially for F&B, and for a lot of other businesses, is that there are more things that you cannot control than you can control. So it's all these external factors that always keep you up at night.
I guess, do you think there's like an advantage to having like a physical outlet still over like a cloud kitchen or something like that, where it's just all delivery? Because for me, like I like the sentimental value of like, I know this place is there. It sticks in my mind a bit more. But I guess it's true that it's logistically a lot harder to run like a physical place and keep that going.
For a physical location, I feel that for food is a must because at the end of the day, people must be there to try the food as fresh as possible before they will consider delivery. But in another way is that I also think that the rental is always the thing that is in the mind of a business owner. Right? Like for example, you set up an office, right? You have many places to choose because at the end of the day, it's just a place of work. It's not really a place of commerce. But for F&B shop, it's a place where the commerce is happening. So it's either I go somewhere that's really prime and expensive and pray that there's enough people coming into my shop, or I go somewhere that's really cheap and then I try my best to market until people come to my shop. Right? So there's always this balance that we are trying to hit. But for F&B wise, I feel that you still need a physical location. In fact, with a physical location, things can be done easier because everything is over there. Right? If it's just a cloud kitchen, yes, you save on cost. But today, I will ask the audience maybe, if you scroll through the delivery app, will you go back to shops that you have been before? And even if the new one pop up, right? Whether is it promo 50% off free delivery, will you bother go and try it and spoil your lunch? Or rather order it from something you know what you're going to expect when it comes in. A lot of times you order the things that you're familiar with.
Would you ever consider coffee shop or hawker center?
Costing don't allow me to do it because if I were to sell $10, I mean, you were sitting in a coffee shop, will you buy a $10 burger?
Okay.
If the right opportunity comes in, I might try. But then I will be very honest, is that based on the pricing of my ingredients, it's very difficult for me to do it.
Yeah.
If I ever do it, it will be on a maybe light light basis. Like it's
Okay.
a
Right.
cheaper. Like for example, you go McDonald's, you eat cheeseburger, but there's a hamburger.
Yeah,
It's like $2.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it's like okay, like they just pack the whole thing.
This is
and
like the coffee
Yeah.
shop version
Yeah.
of NBCB.
yeah, but that is one thing that I don't close my door on it.
Yeah.
But I will hope that I can still maintain the same food quality at a place where I would like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any other businesses that you'd be interested in doing? I mean, outside of F&B. I mean, your friend Simon Boy, he's got his production house. With Simon Girl, he's got the maid agency.
Yeah. As a talent media person, I'm not that ambitious.
Okay.
My interest is in all the acting stuff. Because I like it very much, that I really explore to learn how to be better. Of
Okay.
course, now I'm not that good, but I try to be better
Yeah.
because I have that interest. When it comes to like alignment with what I'm doing right now, of course, I invested in a salon, which is a vintage studio, which is at Bugis. So because I do my grooming quite often, instead of like paying all the time, I invest in it. And at least it's somewhere that I
free
can do my
haircuts.
stuff, right? And also get people to come in.
Yeah.
So I tend to invest in things that I'm familiar with. Yeah, I wouldn't go too far off like start my agency because I really cannot, right? And then of course, he and Simon Girl, the good thing is they are a very good team.
Yeah.
Right. So he sets the action. Simon Girl is now running that shop, that maid agency, and she's doing it very well. So I mean, they complement each other well. Me and my wife, she likes to do her own thing, I do my own thing. I better not ask her to do things that I want her to do.
Wise words,
Yeah.
wise words. Okay, we're going to get to the audience submitted questions. But before we go there, if you are sitting at home right now, if you are watching this, if you have a question, you have something that weighs heavy on your chest, you can write into us at the link that is on your screen right now. You can find that same link in our show description. Write to us there, tell us your problems. Who knows, you might get someone like Tommy Wong, Tommy NBCB to answer your questions.
Tommy here.
Just Tommy. Okay. You ready?
Yeah.
Ready for this one? This one is from someone named Sim Jae Yoon. And Sim Jae Yoon writes, how do you maintain and develop your love life while balancing your work life?
I have no love life.
And you got your wife, you got your kids.
There's no more love.
No more.
No lah. No lah.
Oh, we're about to get deep and dark there. The lights, now's a good time for the lights.
For
to
lights
Now
go
is
go
on.
off.
a good time for our lights to just die
Yeah.
off. No lah, I think like this is an age-old problem that no one has solved it.
Okay.
There will always be unhappiness on both sides.
Yeah.
But I think there must be a committed understanding that whatever that we do, of course, I want to be a husband that is there whenever she calls me. Even when she don't need to call me, I'm sitting there just on standby for her or for my kids.
Yeah.
Even for my business. I wish I could have everything planned to the point where I won't disappoint anybody. But in life is that you have to choose your battles.
Okay.
Right? And by choosing your battles means that someone will be unhappy with you. Right? At any point of time.
Yeah.
So it's just balancing what you think is precious. Like for me, there are times where I have to tell my wife, I'm doing this because I want to bring you all go holiday lah. Then I need to earn money. What you expect me to do? There are some times where I have to tell my guys, I'm paying you a salary. You have to solve this problem for me. I know a lot of employees wouldn't like to hear this thing, but the fact of the matter, that is the truth.
Yeah.
Right? If I'm paying a salary and you are causing me more problem that I have to spend additional time on this, then something is not right, man. So I have to balance it out. But most of the time, I will say that everything starts from home.
Okay.
And my wife happened to be a very understanding person. But the onus is on me not to take advantage of the understanding to a point where she also flipped.
Yeah.
And I guess that I think most women who are wives or girlfriend
I'm about to drop some truth about women. Go ahead.
still understand that every man that they marry, they believe that he wants to be a good breadwinner. Right? The thing that pisses them off would be they do not see the value of the things that you are doing.
Right.
And that comes with communication. Right? So sometimes I do certain appearance, right? It's out of maybe it's not fine. There's no financial input, but maybe it will help in certain ways that you might not foresee, because I'm the one doing it. She's not the one doing it. She might not see the way I see it.
Okay.
She might not see the way I see it, right? So I have to explain it to her lah. Then sometimes she accept it, sometimes she don't lah. But end of the day, you have to buy her back or bring her go holiday.
Okay, so we didn't pay you to come on this podcast. Did you Did you accept? Did you explain to her?
But it's during working hours, so it's fine. If you ask me to come down like at 9 p.m. where I have to put my kids to sleep, and I have to choose between putting my kids to sleep and here, then I better have a damn good explanation what am I doing here.
How long have you guys been together for now?
Me and my wife, we known each other since like 2012.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, I mean 2012 I've been together until I think this is the 12th year, 13 years. Yeah.
How'd you guys meet?
I stalked her on Facebook. I saw like this girl damn cute and happened to have mutual friends. So I asked my friend to introduce, but at that time she had a boyfriend.
Okay.
So I was just patiently waiting.
Yeah, biding your time.
Yeah, just waiting and wait. One day she changed the profile pic. One person. I'm like, hi, how's your day?
Serious? Yeah. And it worked.
I mean, for 1 month.
Okay.
Before we met each other.
Day, oh, for 1 month you
yeah, hi,
message
what
on
you
Facebook.
doing today? Oh, today no work.
But what's your
today
excuse?
Eat what? Huh?
What's your excuse to get in contact with her?
Oh, nothing.
Because you never met her in person before that, right?
I tell you guys, you have to be aggressive. No woman like passive men.
No women like passive men.
You have to be aggressive at some point lah.
Yeah.
You cannot expect them to make the first move lah.
Yeah.
Right
yeah.
now, I think as a man, you still must have that. Not MCP, but you must still have that alpha. Take charge.
Yeah.
Take charge.
Interesting. So that's what won her.
No lah. She like cause I handsome.
Right. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
That helps.
I mean, you're an entrepreneur, business owner, and you've got all these other things that you're doing as well, the acting and your other investments. Does it take away a lot of time from do you feel like you've missed out on a lot of time with your family and stuff like that?
I think, okay, the mistake I made at the start when it was so overwhelming, when I have everything coming and all the opportunities, is that I prioritize all these opportunities before my family. And the reason is because in my head, I tell myself that all this will benefit them in the future. Right? But I realized also I made a mistake where I didn't know how to plan all this work-related stuff around my family.
Okay.
So I was planning my family around my work. So at some point I realized that I cannot be doing that. So I have to first, my kids' curriculum. And me and my wife say, we have to go out on two dates and night, for example, per week. So I will put all this in and I plan all my schedule around it. Okay. So that will minimize a lot of problems.
Yeah. So having like that kind of priority.
Yes.
And then like making sure you have your priority stuff first.
Yeah.
And then the work stuff comes in after.
Correct. I think as a man, we tend to prioritize opportunity before a lot of things because we think that we have time for all these things. But one good example is like my mom. Yeah. Right? My mom has dementia. I think I talked about it before. And I also come to realize that no matter how much I do, even today I get Emmy or I get whatever, Oscar, she will never know. So I do all these things, is it really for myself or for them?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it kind of like burst the bubble. Then it has to be something that is worthwhile and I don't have to forsake too much time being with them. Yeah. So it kind of keep me grounded in that sense.
Yeah. That's one thing that came to mind, when you were just talking about that. Like, in your mind, you have a lot of things that you think you're doing so that it will pay off later for your family. Yeah. But then like in the midst of all that, you like lose sight of like the moment that you're in right now. Like your kids will never be this age ever again, right? In a few years' time, they'll be like teenagers or whatever. Won't want to hang out with you anymore. They'll be too cool.
Yeah, but the thing is, sometimes we don't realize it until it's too late. Yeah. But for me, I think it's not say childhood trauma or what, because I started off late. A lot of people start in, let's say, a media industry, they're in their 20s. Some of them even luckier when they're in their teens, right? But for me, I really started doing it when I was 36 years old. So I felt that, if I don't get this, or I don't make use of this opportunity, or I don't do my best right now, this might not come to me again.
Yeah.
Which is why I'm so like myopic over this thing.
Yeah.
But after having such instances for so many time and having so many argument with my wife over this, I also kind of realized that some opportunity are just not worth sacrificing for. Lor. So you have to pick your battles. Ma. And then coupled with the age of my parents and all this kind of thing, yes, I am guilty of not spending a lot of time with them. But even from a family perspective, I have to choose between my parents and my own family because I'm an only child. Right? I can't be at two places at one time. So by working hard, I can solve certain things inside my own heart. Right? Like maybe because my mom is dementia, I can't stay with her 24/7. But if I work hard, I can maybe hire a helper that is trained to handle some of the dementia so I don't feel so bad and she can live more comfortably.
Yeah.
Because sometimes by me being there doesn't mean that it will be very comfortable for her because I'm not trained to take care of someone of that kind of illness.
Yeah,
Right.
absolutely.
And that helped me balance myself out. Some people might disagree, but end of the day, it's my own life. I have to decide.
Make your own choices. Yeah. Let's move on to the next question then. Do you want to read this one for us?
Read.
Yeah.
I don't think so long then you read.
Okay. It's from Lex.
Lex. Imposter syndrome. I have this fear of embarrassing myself at work. When I'm with my friends, I'm quite extroverted and really good at conversation. But during work meetings and conferences, I'm so timid. I'm always afraid to say things that will make me look stupid.
Lex.
Lex.
Do you know imposter? Are you familiar with imposter syndrome?
Every day I have imposter syndrome.
Okay.
Yeah, every day I always feel that I don't deserve to be where I am. Or I'm not good enough. And especially when you see negative comments. And in my line of work, I always see comments, right? Whether is it in my face or behind my back. You know, somebody I know, somebody I don't know. There will always be some comments. But I sort of learned that you must be mentally strong and look at the work that you have done. If that particular work is really shit, then accept that you are shit and do better. If you are satisfied with that particular work that you have done, and even when people say it's not good, right? I'm sure that you know in your heart, you put in your heart and soul and go and do it. For example, I give you an example. I cannot sing. I'm not a trained singer. But when someone asks me to go and sing, I will still do my best to go and even if you think that it's shit. I knew that I tried.
Yeah.
And I have more balls than you.
Yeah.
It's good enough for me. Right? And when it comes to like I would think that Lex is working in an office setting, right? And I have worked in an office setting for so long that I feel that sometimes you don't know whether speaking up will help you or don't help you. But I will say that you think about the words that you say. Because you already plan what you want to say, if the words that you say make sense to you, then say it. Really just say it. Because there are times where I have faced so many incidents where just because I didn't say it and somebody say it, they get the credit.
Yeah.
You know? And there are times that because I didn't say it, then, you know, it affects me even more.
Yeah.
So I will say that there is no stupid questions. Only like stupid answers.
Okay.
So if you think about the answer that you're going to say and you feel that it makes sense, then say it.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't make sense to the person that is receiving the message, they will tell you why, and you'll be more clear. Right? And if you are asking a question, right, whereby you don't know the answer, then you are seeking for clarity.
Yeah.
So there's no stupid question.
Yeah. Very practical advice. Darren, you've just done a video on imposter syndrome. Not that long
Right,
ago. Any thoughts, any advice to Lex?
I have no advice at all. I'm struggling with this idea of
imposter
like,
syndrome.
imposter
But
syndrome.
I think at some point it's like all of us will question ourselves. Am I really at the right track? Am I supposed to be here? You know, even for me, you don't think that people will think that who are you that deserve to be acting with these people who are trained actors?
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, then I can be an asshole and say that most people like me. No, I don't care. But I do tell myself, if I were to watch the stuff that I've done, do you think that I'm very impressed with everything that I've done? There are things that I shouldn't have done this. I shouldn't be like this. I'm so embarrassed for myself. But then the next
Cringe
course
talk.
the next course of action is to do better. You can only do better. But you know, when you reach my age, you know that opportunity only comes once or twice. You know, it's best to try it even if you are not sure than to not do it at all.
Yeah.
I guess like the fear of like imposter syndrome is like if any confidence I have in myself is overconfidence, and then I'm just gonna go out there and just make a fool out of myself.
Yep.
Like being so like kind of like arrogant about it, and then I overcompensate by being then like, oh, I can't do it. I'm just like, I've been in this position,
Yeah, but
I don't deserve it.
I feel that it's very common. Like
Right.
even the most confident person
Mm.
would also have imposter syndrome because you don't know whether you are fed with lies that you're feeling so confident. Or what. There's always the external noise, right? But
Yeah.
I think end of the day, I really, really believe that you are where you are supposed to be at that current point of time. Because if you are not, the external factor will never allow you to be there.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like if you're not good at what you're doing, you think people want to waste their time, effort, and money so that you can embarrass yourself, man.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's true.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even for content creator example, you can buy views, but these are not gonna be like organic views, man.
Yeah.
The reason why there are people watching your stuff, there are people listening to you, there are people laughing at you. For sure, you did something right, man. You think they will just laugh at you because they want to support you?
Yeah,
Nobody
you've connected
support,
with them somehow.
yeah, nobody support you blindly, man.
True.
You
It's
know?
true.
Mm.
The one thing I would say to Lex is that I think, let's move away from the big word imposter syndrome, but like talk about self-doubt. Right?
Yeah.
Like some measure of self-doubt I think is important. Some measure of like awareness of like where you can improve or what you lack in, I think is like always a good thing to have.
And there are a lot of people who need a lot more self-doubt.
I think there are probably people out there that
Experience.
need to suffer from imposter syndrome.
Yeah, and some people need a good dose of imposter syndrome.
Really, man? Like who?
No, I'm not gonna name names. I'm just saying.
There's a gag order on the news.
Yeah, gag order.
Hey, bro, don't play this one.
No, just in general. I'm not referring to anyone. I'm just saying.
Just saying.
there's
Sure,
gag
sure, sure.
orders.
That one is by you, not by me. I never say anything. Okay? Anything you look for, Andrew. No, but I feel that like what you say, the self-doubt part is the one that keeps us grounded. It really keeps us grounded. But too much of it really will. You have this negative aura.
Yeah.
Like everything, did I did well? Am I good? Right?
Yeah.
Don't seek for external validation. External validation will come as long as you do well. You don't need to ask people to say, hey, you did a good job. If you really did well, people will tell you did well. And I think that everyone can differentiate sympathy and real encouragement, right? But don't be too full of yourself. I mean, there are times where I'm full of myself also. But I have people like Simon kind of tell me, hey bro, you're nothing. Okay, sorry. In front of me, you are nothing. I say, yes, you are right.
Oh man. I mean, there was another part. Was there another part where he talked about like in meetings or something like that, right?
Yeah,
I'm
he
so
was saying
timid.
like
Yeah.
he don't dare to. He's timid in conferences afraid to
Okay.
say something that make them look stupid.
Yeah. I would say with that, the thing that helps me the most in those kind of situations is to really know your stuff. To really be confident about what you have to say, about what you're presenting about, or what opinion you have.
Yep.
And if you're confident in that, then you
Always be
have
prepared.
be prepared, and then just trust in the research or the preparation that you've done,
Yeah.
and just deliver what you have to say. If people disagree with it, they disagree with it.
Yeah, but I agree with it 100% because you will not, if you are not ready to be in that meeting, then you won't be in that meeting.
Yeah.
But have that confidence to know what you're like. You won't be in a health board meeting because you're not a doctor, right?
Yeah.
Right? You won't be
Yeah.
suddenly placed inside there and people are, hey, so bro, what do you think about this cancer cell? Right?
Yeah.
You know, so you are exactly where you are, just be a bit more confident and always be prepared. Don't think that you are too good for the thing, Henry.
Very nice advice for Lex. Anything else you guys wanted to say about imposter syndrome?
No, I'm
No?
good.
Okay, great. Then I think that's the right time to bring this episode to a close. Hey, thank you so much for
Thank you,
joining
brothers.
us, Tommy.
Thank you.
Thank you for that honest chat about the F&B business and about what it's like to be an entrepreneur in Singapore. Thank you to you guys for watching today's episode. Thank you to Audio Technica for powering the audio for this podcast. We'll catch you guys in the next episode. Bye.
Next one is who?
I don't know.
Ask Simon Law.
Gag order on that one. Yeah, I do want
Bro, what the hell?
I do.